India's geographic location and strategic posture in the Indo-Pacific region have elevated it to a position of immense importance for the United States. Situated at the crossroads of South Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, India sits astride some of the most vital maritime routes in the world. Its proximity to the Indian Ocean, which carries over 60% of global oil shipments and a significant portion of the world's trade, makes it a natural guardian of this vital economic artery. As tensions rise in the Indo-Pacific due to China's growing assertiveness and the shifting global power balance, India is increasingly seen by the United States as an essential partner in preserving regional stability, ensuring freedom of navigation, and upholding a rules-based international order. The Indo-Pacific has become the strategic center of gravity in the 21st century. With the decline of American military presence in other parts of the world and the rise of China as a global competitor, U.S. policymakers have recognized the need to reinforce their presence in Asia through trusted regional partners. India, with its large military, growing economy, and long-standing democratic governance, emerges as a natural anchor in this strategy. The U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy explicitly identifies India as a key player in shaping the future of the region, and this is reflected in the increasing frequency of high-level dialogues, defense agreements, and multilateral engagements between the two nations. India's regional influence is particularly critical when considering China's expansive behavior across the Indo-Pacific. Beijing's aggressive posturing in the South China Sea, its expanding naval footprint in the Indian Ocean, and its contentious border disputes with neighboring countries have alarmed not just the United States, but many of its allies. The 2020 Galwan Valley clash between Indian and Chinese troops was a significant moment that underscored India's resolve to stand up to China's military coercion. Unlike some other regional players that are wary of directly challenging Beijing, India has shown that it is willing to defend its sovereignty and strategic interests, even in the face of a much larger military power. This stance aligns with America's broader objective of maintaining a balance of power in Asia and preventing any single actor from dominating the region. India's military capabilities are increasingly aligned with this role. It possesses the world's second largest army, a growing blue water navy, and a modernizing air force. The Indian Navy, in particular, plays a crucial role in monitoring and securing the vast maritime expanse of the Indian Ocean, where choke points like the Strait of Malacca, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Bab el-Mandeb are vital for global energy and trade flows. American strategists recognize that India's ability to project power in these areas contributes directly to regional and global stability. To enhance this capability, the U.S. has been actively supporting India's defense modernization through military sales, joint exercises, and technology transfers. Multilateral cooperation is another arena where India plays a central role. One of the most significant frameworks that highlight India's strategic importance is the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, commonly known as the Quad, which includes the United States, India, Japan, and Australia. This grouping, although not a formal military alliance, aims to ensure a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific. The Quad has conducted naval exercises, coordinated humanitarian assistance, and engaged in joint dialogues on supply chain resilience, emerging technologies, and countering coercive economic practices. India's active participation and leadership within the Quad signal its growing willingness to shape the strategic architecture of the region alongside the U.S. and other like-minded democracies. India also serves as a strategic buffer to China's western flank. While the South China Sea has captured much of the global attention, the Himalayan border and South Asian front represent a critical yet underappreciated axis of strategic competition. India's presence and influence in countries like Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives help counterbalance China's efforts to build dominance through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). The United States benefits from India's deep historical, cultural, and economic ties in these regions, as it creates a counterweight to Chinese economic and strategic encroachment. Furthermore, India's commitment to strategic autonomy and its non-aligned foreign policy tradition, while often seen as a limitation in traditional alliance terms, actually enhances its value as a partner. Unlike treaty-bound allies, India operates on its own interests, making its cooperation even more meaningful when India aligns with the U.S. on critical regional issues, such as counterterrorism, maritime domain awareness, or humanitarian assistance. It does so out of shared values and converging goals rather than obligation. This independence makes India a more credible and respected actor among developing nations and non-aligned states, extending America's soft power reach in ways that formal alliances sometimes cannot. In times of crisis, such as during natural disasters or maritime emergencies, India has shown its capability to act swiftly and effectively. Its humanitarian operations in the Indian Ocean region have received praise and established it as a responsible power. The U.S. and India have also conducted joint missions to deliver aid, demonstrating the potential of their combined capabilities. This cooperative capacity strengthens the broader architecture of regional security and fosters trust among smaller Indo-Pacific nations. In conclusion, India's role as a geopolitical anchor in the Indo-Pacific is essential for the United States as it seeks to maintain influence, deter aggression, and promote a stable and open order in one of the most strategically contested regions of the world. Through its military strength, regional influence, and democratic leadership, India has become a pillar in America's vision for a free and secure Indo-Pacific. The deepening partnership between the two nations is not just a matter of strategic convenience, but a necessity shaped by converging interests in a rapidly changing global landscape. The defense and security cooperation between India and the United States has become a central pillar of their strategic partnership, reflecting shared concerns over regional stability, counterterrorism, and the growing influence of rival powers, particularly China. Over the last 2 decades, the transformation of this relationship from one marked by distance and caution to one of increasing trust and interoperability marks a significant shift in global security dynamics. The United States now views India not only as a valuable security partner in South Asia, but also as a key player in maintaining peace and balance in the broader Indo-Pacific region. Similarly, India sees its defense ties with the United States as essential for modernizing its military, diversifying its strategic options, and projecting itself as a responsible regional power. A major development that enabled closer security cooperation was the signing of foundational defense agreements between the two countries. These include the General Security of Military Information Agreement (GSOMIA), Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement (LAMOA), Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement (COMCOSA), and Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement (BCA). These agreements facilitate the secure sharing of intelligence, enable mutual use of military facilities for logistics and refueling, and allow the integration of high-end communication systems into Indian defense platforms. Together, they create a legal and technical framework that enhances military interoperability and builds long-term trust. Joint military exercises between India and the United States have also expanded significantly, both in frequency and scope. Exercises such as Yud-Abhyas, which involves the armies of both countries, and Malabar, a major naval exercise that also includes Japan and Australia, demonstrate growing coordination across different branches of the military. These exercises focus not just on combat readiness, but also on humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, and counter-piracy operations, reflecting the multifaceted nature of modern security challenges. Over time, these engagements build familiarity, tactical synchronization, and operational trust, which are essential for joint responses in real-world scenarios. Defense trade between the two countries has also grown rapidly, making the United States one of India's top arms suppliers. In the past decade, India has procured advanced American military hardware, including C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft, AH-64, Apache, and CH-47 Chinook helicopters, P-8 maritime surveillance aircraft, and M777 howitzers. These acquisitions are not just transactions. They are part of a broader strategy to upgrade India's defense capabilities and align them more closely with U.S. platforms and systems, as India seeks to reduce its dependency on traditional suppliers such as Russia. The U.S. emerges as a key alternative that provides both advanced technology and strategic alignment. In addition to hardware, the two countries have intensified cooperation in areas such as cyber defense, space security, and intelligence sharing. With cyber threats becoming increasingly sophisticated and transnational, the U.S. and India are collaborating to strengthen the security of their digital infrastructure, prevent cyber intrusions, and develop best practices for cybersecurity governance. Intelligence sharing has improved significantly, especially in areas concerning terrorism and regional instability. The exchange of real-time data and surveillance intelligence is particularly important in the Indian Ocean region, where both nations have vested interests in countering terrorism, piracy, and Chinese naval movements. Counterterrorism is another major domain of cooperation. Both countries have been victims of major terrorist attacks and have committed to working together to combat extremism. Joint efforts in intelligence sharing, law enforcement training, and counter-radicalization strategies have yielded results. The United States has supported India's efforts to bring perpetrators of cross-border terrorism to justice and has backed India's calls for stronger global action against terror financing networks. The designation of groups and individuals involved in attacks like the 2008 Mumbai attacks has been a key area where U.S. diplomatic support has matched Indian concerns. Another dimension of growing security cooperation is the Indo-Pacific strategic framework. The U.S. views India as a linchpin in its Indo-Pacific strategy, which seeks to maintain a free and open region in the face of coercive behavior from authoritarian regimes. India's inclusion in the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue Quad alongside the U.S., Japan, and Australia reflects its centrality to this vision. The Quad, although not a formal alliance, represents a strategic coalition of democracies committed to defending the rules-based order, ensuring maritime security, and supporting regional development. Through this platform, the U.S. and India engage in coordinated diplomacy, defense cooperation, and even joint vaccine production and infrastructure investment. India's defense industry modernization efforts also align with U.S. interests. Under India's Make in India initiative, the country aims to build a robust domestic defense manufacturing base. American defense firms are increasingly partnering with Indian companies for joint ventures, technology transfer, and co-production. Such collaborations not only help India achieve self-reliance, but also create long-term strategic linkages between the two defense ecosystems. The possibility of co-developing advanced systems, such as drones, jet engines, and missile defense technology, could redefine the nature of the bilateral defense relationship in the years ahead. Despite the progress, challenges remain. Differences in procurement processes, concerns over technology security, and India's tradition of strategic autonomy sometimes slow the pace of cooperation. However, both nations have shown a clear commitment to addressing these issues through dialogue, institutional mechanisms, and political will. High-level strategic dialogues, including the U.S. India 2+2 ministerial dialogue involving defense and foreign ministers from both countries, provide platforms to resolve disputes and set new goals. In conclusion, the defense and security relationship between India and the United States has matured into one of mutual trust, shared interests, and long-term strategic alignment. It is no longer limited to transactional arms deals or symbolic exercises, but is built on a comprehensive framework of interoperability, shared intelligence, joint operations, and strategic cooperation in new domains like cyber and space. As regional and global threats evolve, the depth and breadth of U.S. India defense collaboration will be crucial in ensuring peace, stability, and a balance of power in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. This growing partnership not only secures both nations' interests, but also contributes to a more secure and orderly global system. India's emergence as one of the world's fastest growing major economies offers the United States a vital partner in achieving economic diversification, trade expansion, and global supply chain resilience. As the global economic landscape becomes more volatile, impacted by geopolitical rivalries, pandemics, and technological disruption, America is increasingly turning to India as an economic ally that can help secure long-term prosperity and stability. With a population exceeding 1.4 billion, a growing middle class, and a rapidly expanding digital economy, India represents not just a consumer market of immense scale, but also a production and innovation hub with enormous potential. For the U.S., India is not just another trade partner, it is an economic growth engine whose rise is strategically linked to American commercial and geopolitical interests. One of the main reasons the U.S. sees India as a critical economic partner is its vast and youthful population. With a median age under 30, India has one of the youngest workforces in the world, offering a demographic advantage that can fuel decades of economic expansion. As hundreds of millions enter the workforce and migrate to urban centers, the demand for consumer goods, digital services, housing, healthcare, and infrastructure is soaring. For American companies, this translates into unmatched opportunities in sectors ranging from retail and e-commerce to pharmaceuticals, financial services, and renewable energy. Multinational corporations like Amazon, Walmart, Apple, Google, and Microsoft are aggressively expanding their presence in India, tailoring products and services to local needs while simultaneously leveraging India's cost advantages and tech talent. Trade between the U.S. and India has also grown significantly over the past 2 decades. The bilateral trade volume has risen from about $20 billion in 2000 to over $190 billion in recent years, making the U.S. one of India's largest trading partners and India a key market for American exports. The U.S. exports a range of goods to India, including machinery, aircraft, medical devices, and agricultural products, while importing pharmaceuticals, textiles, jewelry, software services, and increasingly advanced manufactured goods. As both countries seek to strengthen their trade relationship, there is considerable scope for further growth, especially in emerging sectors like electric vehicles, semiconductors, green energy, and artificial intelligence. The United States also sees India as a key component in building secure and diversified global supply chains. In recent years, the over-reliance on China as the world's factory has exposed critical vulnerabilities, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic and amid rising U.S.-China tensions. Supply chain disruptions in essential goods like semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, and rare earth elements have triggered a global reevaluation of sourcing strategies. India's large manufacturing base, improving infrastructure, and policy incentives make it an attractive alternative for American companies seeking to de-risk their operations. Initiatives like the production-linked incentive PLI schemes launched by the Indian government are designed to attract foreign investment and boost domestic manufacturing in strategic sectors, including electronics, solar panels, and medical equipment. Beyond trade and manufacturing, India's burgeoning digital economy offers another powerful avenue for U.S.-India economic collaboration. India has the second largest internet user base in the world, with over 800 million people connected online. This massive digital footprint has given rise to a vibrant tech startup ecosystem, with thousands of companies innovating in fintech, edtech, healthtech, and e-commerce. American venture capital firms and tech giants have heavily invested in this space, recognizing the scalability and innovation potential of Indian startups. The Indian government's push for Digital India has further enhanced the country's digital infrastructure, creating a fertile environment for digital trade, cybersecurity cooperation, and data-driven services. The United States is also increasingly partnering with India on clean energy and climate action. As one of the world's largest carbon emitters and energy consumers, India faces the dual challenge of powering economic growth while transitioning to sustainable energy sources. This challenge creates opportunities for American companies specializing in solar, wind, battery storage, hydrogen fuel, and electric vehicles. The U.S. India Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 partnership is a collaborative framework that aims to scale up clean energy investments and accelerate the deployment of low-carbon technologies. Joint ventures and public-private partnerships in clean energy not only contribute to global climate goals, but also generate commercial returns and innovation for both countries. Investment flows between the two economies continue to strengthen as well. U.S. foreign direct investment in India spans diverse sectors: technology, energy, defense, retail, and manufacturing. At the same time, Indian firms are also investing in the U.S., creating jobs and acquiring strategic assets, particularly in IT, pharmaceuticals, and automotive sectors. This two-way flow of capital builds a resilient economic relationship, reinforced by mutual benefits and long-term strategic alignment. The economic bridge is further supported by the large Indian diaspora in the U.S., which plays a critical role in business networking, innovation, and bilateral investment decisions. Despite this promising outlook, challenges remain. Trade disputes, tariff disagreements, data localization mandates, and intellectual property concerns occasionally create friction. However, both governments have shown a willingness to engage in high-level economic dialogues to address these issues. The revival of bilateral trade talks and the inclusion of India in broader Indo-Pacific economic frameworks indicate a shared intent to move past these hurdles and focus on long-term alignment, as the U.S. looks to promote resilient, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. A strong partnership with India will be key to achieving those objectives. In sum, India's economic ascent presents the United States with a powerful partner capable of enhancing supply chain resilience, expanding trade, driving technological innovation, and contributing to global energy transition. As the world moves toward a new economic order defined by decentralization, digitization, and sustainability, India's role becomes increasingly pivotal. For the United States, deepening economic ties with India is not just about short-term gains. It's about forging a durable and strategic alliance with a rising power that shares its aspirations for a more stable, equitable, and prosperous global economy. The convergence between India and the United States in the realms of technology and democratic values has created a powerful foundation for a long-term strategic partnership. As two of the world's most prominent democracies with thriving innovation ecosystems, both nations find themselves increasingly aligned in their vision of a global order where freedom, transparency, and ethical governance drive progress. In an era defined by rapid technological change, digital disruption, and the rise of authoritarian influence, the shared commitment of India and the U.S. to democratic norms and innovation-driven growth stands out as a crucial counterforce. Their synergy is not only shaping the future of emerging technologies, but also reinforcing the values that underlie liberal, open societies. At the core of this relationship is the belief that technology must serve humanity, not control it. As nations across the world adopt digital governance tools, artificial intelligence systems, surveillance technologies, and advanced data analytics, the question of who sets the standards, democracies or authoritarian regimes, has become increasingly critical. The United States and India, both home to vast technology sectors and world-class talent, understand the importance of shaping these standards in ways that preserve individual rights, foster innovation, and prevent technological misuse. Their collaboration across these sectors goes far beyond commerce. It's about preserving the integrity of democratic societies in the digital age. One area where this collaboration is already making an impact is in emerging and critical technologies. The U.S.-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology (ICT), launched in 2023, serves as a major strategic framework that brings together government agencies, private sector leaders, and academic institutions to deepen cooperation in areas like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, semiconductors, biotechnology, advanced telecommunications, and space technology. These are not just areas of economic interest. They are battlegrounds for global influence, where the models adopted today will shape the future for decades. Through ICT, both countries aim to reduce dependence on authoritarian tech ecosystems, especially China's, and to build resilient and secure technology supply chains based on trust and transparency. Semiconductors have become a key focus in this partnership. with growing concerns about the concentration of chip manufacturing in East Asia and the national security implications of supply disruptions. Both India and the U.S. have moved to diversify their semiconductor supply chains. The U.S., through initiatives like the CHIPS and Science Act, seeks to bring advanced manufacturing home, while also encouraging trusted partners to develop their own capabilities. India, for its part, has rolled out significant incentives for semiconductor fabrication and design. Joint ventures and strategic investments in this sector signal the seriousness with which both countries are approaching technological sovereignty and collaboration. Space is another frontier where U.S.-India cooperation is deepening. India's space agency ISRO has earned global respect for its low-cost, high-efficiency missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. The U.S. sees India as a valuable partner in space exploration, satellite technology, and space situational awareness. The two nations have already cooperated on Earth observation and climate monitoring missions, and India's participation in NASA's Artemis Accords signals a new era of civil space cooperation. As outer space becomes increasingly contested, with rising militarization and commercial activity, democratic collaboration in this domain ensures that space remains open, peaceful, and governed by mutually agreed rules. Beyond technology, India and the United States are strongly united by their democratic ethos. In a time when authoritarian regimes are exporting censorship tools, surveillance infrastructure, and disinformation campaigns, the shared values of the world's two largest democracies offer a countermodel rooted in openness and human dignity. Both countries believe in the power of pluralism, the rule of law, an independent judiciary, a free press, and the right of citizens to speak and choose freely. These principles guide their internal governance and also shape their approach to international diplomacy, global development, and digital rights. This democratic synergy also extends into multilateral platforms and global governance forums. Whether advocating for an open internet, press freedom, or digital privacy standards, India and the United States often find themselves on the same side of the debate. The Indian diaspora in the U.S., which includes millions of successful professionals, tech leaders, and entrepreneurs, has further strengthened the cultural and political bond between the two countries. Many Indian Americans hold leadership positions in major tech firms and influence policy in ways that reinforce U.S.-India cooperation based on shared values and visions. Furthermore, both countries are actively involved in using technology for inclusive development. India's digital public infrastructure, such as the Aadhaar biometric ID system, the Unified Payments Interface UPI, and the co-WIN vaccine platform, has drawn global attention for its scale, affordability, and impact. American companies and policymakers are studying these innovations as models for delivering services efficiently while preserving accessibility and fairness. Collaborations in digital governance, on everything from digital health records to smart cities, are helping both nations learn from each other and refine models that can be exported to other developing democracies. Cybersecurity is another vital area of cooperation. As both countries face increasing threats from hostile state actors and criminal networks, they have committed to sharing intelligence, conducting joint cyber defense exercises, and establishing frameworks for protecting critical infrastructure. Cybersecurity is not just about defense, it's also about protecting the democratic fabric from digital interference, disinformation, and electoral manipulation. Together, India and the U.S. are working to build cyber norms that uphold sovereignty, transparency, and responsible state behavior. In conclusion, the fusion of technological ambition and democratic values is a defining feature of the U.S.-India partnership. As both countries invest in emerging technologies and shape the digital rules of the road, they are laying the groundwork for a global order that prioritizes openness, accountability, and human rights. In a world where technological dominance increasingly translates into geopolitical power, the joint efforts of India and the United States will play a decisive role in ensuring that innovation continues to serve democratic ends. Their collaboration is not just about economic growth or strategic convenience. It is a shared commitment to a future where progress and freedom go hand in hand.